Welcome back, everyone, to Business Talk, where business meets health, wellness, hobbies, and education. We sit down with entrepreneurs and community leaders to bring you real stories, real insight, and real takeaways you can actually use today. I'm your host, Didier. Thanks again for coming back. And in today's episode, we got a great one for you, listeners. I'm speaking with Greg Warth. He's the owner at Building Your Model Railroads. And listeners, if you enjoy this content and want to hear more, please like, subscribe, as well as comment. Feel free to send any kind of questions as it pertains to this episode. So with that being said, good morning, Greg. How you doing?
Good morning, Didier. Nice to see you. Thanks for inviting me.
No, you're very, very welcome. Listeners, it's amazing. When I was young, I had a chance to get this big piece of plywood and build, a railroad. It was like starting from scratch, right, Greg? That's how you do it, right?
That's how you do it.
And then you buy these little locomotives, you set up your scenery, you have it go through the mountains, and you buy the little people and the little houses, and then the little lights. You literally take those lights, and you can put them right next to the track, and they would literally turn on through the little, what is that called? When you can turn on the switch of the
transformer.
The transformer.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That was, I just remember that. And this is inspiring to me, and I'm sure other listeners that are listening to this are really going to, if they are hobby enthusiasts, model railroad is for all ages, correct? And I know you started in 2008. I'll let you go from there. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm a retired physician, actually, but I started this hobby a long time ago, even while I was actively working, and it was a great stress reliever. You'd finish your day and I'd go to my train room and, work on it. And it was fun. It got your mind off of the stresses of the day, and it was a great pastime. So I always enjoyed it. It started out when I was a kid. I got an American Flyer when I was 6 years old and watched it go around the tree and had so much fun with it. It made some kind of an impression on me. I don't know how or what. And then school got in the way, and then later I just dived into it. And so I'm really into it now.
No,
I write about it. I'm in the Model Railroad Museum, and we have visitors come in every day amazed at what we're doing. It seems like a toy when you talk about model railroading to a lot of people. They just consider it a toy thing, but it's really not. It's a very involved hobby with multiple facets.
I would kind of take it one step further, right, as an artist. I mean, I'm not an artist, but you could look at this as artistry. Correct? Absolutely.
And we've had people come in, and we had people from the Chrysler Museum, which is next door to our museum, and they say, wow, this is amazing. I mean, it's as much an art as painting a picture, and it tells stories. Your little scenes tell little stories about people and all kinds of things. So you're only limited by your imagination, and whatever you can think of, you can put on your model railroad. You can have policemen stopping couples on the freeway. You can have mining events. You can have train wrecks. You can do anything you want to with it.
I think it's also sorry to cut you off. I think it's also kind of more of a stress relief too for people in their day-to-day work to come back and they just kind of play around with it. Let me ask you another question. Are you more into running trains or building scenery?
It's a good question. I'm really more into building the layout and building the scenery. I just love doing that. It's nice at the end when you can watch your trains run around and run through the mountains and the valleys and all of that you've created. It's fun to watch that, but I get the biggest kick out of just building it.
Yeah. And there are so many different types of sceneries and things that you can buy. What's the most challenging part when you're trying to structure or trying to do a layout?
I think the biggest challenge for me has always been the wiring and trying to get the trains to do what you want them to do and getting the polarity right. If you have any reverse loops, you've got to do something different to make sure that the polarity doesn't mess you up. There are always troubleshooting problems with the wiring, and so that's probably the biggest challenge, no doubt about it. I love doing the scenery. That's the best part for
I
me.
know. We keep talking, and I started off with that, right? Building
Yeah.
the scenery really ties everything together. When you're looking at scratch building versus the kits, which side are you on? Are you on both? A little here, a little there?
It really depends on the model railroader. For me, I think the kits are the best. They're easier to do. Scratch buildings is a fantastic art if you're a model railroader, and a lot of people have gotten into that. Making a building out of almost nothing. You could take sticks of wood and glue them together, and at the end of a month, you've got a beautiful building, a mine. There are people that have dedicated their lives to doing that, and it's fantastic when they're done with it. So I really admire them, but I don't feel like I have the time to do that. Stick with the kits and the buildings that are already developed. They're more expensive, but it saves me time.
I love that. So, what is one mistake you made that actually made the layout of what you were doing better?
Well, it's in the corners, I think, is the main thing. If I put a layout around the wall of a room, I have a room over my garage. So the corners are the deepest part, and it's very hard to reach back there if you don't do it right. So I didn't do it right. My corners are hard to reach, and if a train derails back there,
It's
it's
going
hard
to
to
be
get
hard
it.
to get
Yeah,
to.
right.
Wow. And when you say you have a room above your garage, so we're talking that room is the set itself?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's the layout is about 19 by 14 feet
Oh,
inside that room. I have a working desk in there or a workbench, and so I've really dedicated half of my life to that room, basically. I think, but it used to be just part of the attic. We sectioned it off and put a paneling and roof
right.
and ceiling and all that. So I enjoy it.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. What about when you turn off those lights and that comes to life, right? Tell us
Yes.
about that.
Yeah, that's really nice. I've got special lighting in there, and I use one of these LED projectors like you use for displaying things on your house at Christmas time.
Right.
Anyway, I've got that in there, and it's all controlled by a remote control thing. So I can either have bright light, I can have morning light, I can have dusk, I can have night light. And so I turn all of that off like a dusk thing, and then I run the trains with their lights, and the houses all have lights on them. And, it's just really neat to see that. And you could take videos of it and put it on YouTube. It's a blast.
And I can tell how enthusiastic you are because even when I was a kid, you can tell I remember that. And
Yeah,
that's something you could really never take away.
yeah.
How welcoming is the model railroad community right now to beginners?
Oh, they're very welcoming. They're very good guys. These are not stupid people. These are people that have graduated with PhDs in engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, or other things, and they really get into it and get into the hobby there, and they're very nice. I mean, if you're a beginner, you could start by joining a group or a club, and they'll take you under their wing and tell you how to do this or that. They're very nice. And I joined the NMRA, and the people there are excellent. They've always been very accommodating to me. I like to go to their meetings. It's a very friendly place. A lot of camaraderie develops. Some of my best friends now are people that I've met through model railroading.
That's pretty cool. What kind of advice would you give someone who's just, who's on the fence, right? They're like, you know what, I
Yeah,
kind of want to do this. I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, you just start out slow. You just maybe go to a
Build
train
one
show now
railroad
and
at a
then.
time, right? One track at a
Yeah,
time, right?
that's right. That's right. I'd say start out by just go into the hobby shop and just buy a model, a train set, whatever size that you like, HO or N or whatever, and just pick out one and just take it home and put it on a table and start messing with it. And then after a while you'll get bored with that. So you want to start adding things. You know, you have to add a branch line or a turnout and put a house on it, a couple of industries, and then pretty soon you're off and running, adding more and more track and all of that. But that's what you start with.
It takes over your house eventually, right?
Yeah, you have to be careful. I have limits in my house. My wife says you can't go beyond this line.
That makes a lot of sense. So what do you hope model railroading will accomplish or look like in the next 20 years? What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, I think there will be more and more high-tech stuff added to it, more automation, having trains do their own thing, and they can start and stop themselves automatically. I like to watch trains like that have been programmed like that. You can add more and more computer programming. There's a lot of high tech that can be associated with it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that'll get better and better, especially with the use of AI. Now you can use AI to design and plan your layout for you. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because everything seems to be going towards that route to some degree or another.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how can you use that in best practices for the business that you're in?
Sure. You just go to ChatGPT, and I think it's still free on some networks, but if you have to pay for it, it's pretty cheap. And then what you do in the prompt, you say, design a model railroad layout in HO size with two main lines, mountains in the background, river, lake, add whatever you want to it. Have it do the lumber industry or the coal industry, and and then add whatever you want. If you want it to be in the fall or the winter, add whatever you want to your prompt. And then once it goes through all of that, it's amazing. They'll even come up with a 3D image of your layout for you. And then all you've got to do is build it.
Implement it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, Greg, this has been such a delight to be able to speak to you. Hopefully we can have you back again in the near future. Before we go, could you please provide our listeners with a phone number as well as a website that they can reach out to you?
Sure, absolutely. The main website that I started with is Building Your Model Railroad, and that's the name of the site. It's building with hyphens in between each word, so it's building-your-. There is a shortcut to that. It's bymrr.com, and if you type that into your search engine, you'll find it. I also have a store. It's called bymrr.store. If you want to buy products, I offer that.
Phone number.
Yeah, those are the main ones. And I also enjoy writing about it, and that website that I gave you first has a ton of information about how to build your own model railroad. So I hope you go there if you're interested in building one. Start out small and then go on from there.
Greg, it's been such a delight being able to speak with you, and hopefully we can have you back again in the near future, sir.
My phone number, if you want, I'm happy to talk to anybody, 757.
Thank you so much.